This is your 2020 Porsche Cayenne, and as you can tell by the rear, it is the coupe as opposed to the regular Cayenne. Let's go into perks, quirks, and irks. So right off the top, I love the color. It's called lava orange. It costs a little bit, but it looks so stunning. It pops, and it's just the right shade of orange. Absolutely love it. Up front, let's start with the turn signals, which are on the driver's side, off on the passenger side, so you can see everything's LED, and they flip, so when the turn signal is not on, it becomes your regular LED. You have the tinted matrix headlights, and these things are just absolutely gorgeous. So you have your 4 points surrounding your main lens, and you have 5 different bulbs on that side. That nice little Porsche badging right there. Just the headlights, to me, really make a vehicle, and in this case, full marks. You have a bit of a sculpted hood. You can see the design lines right there, there, and there, and it just kind of spreads out the closer we get to the end of the roof. Overall, front end, not too bad. Some people aren't a big fan of the Porsche grille. I don't mind it. I kind of like it. Let's go back to where we started, which was the front quarter look. And as we slowly move around to the side profile, you can clearly see it's a coupe. And it kind of has that 911 look-ish to it. And I know it's not a 911, but with the sloped rear, it really stands out. Beautiful, gorgeous rims. I'm usually a fan of simple, traditional 5-spokes, but these ones really suit the Cayenne Coupe. A bit of an irk. It's a paid option. You don't have to get it, but just, having it say Porsche when, to me, it clearly is a Porsche. Maybe I'm a little biased, but that's something I would not opt for. All right, let's take a look at the rear quarter as we go around to the full rear. So you get a spoiler up top, and you get a really thin spoiler, which is that black line, which is right here. And this is actually the moving spoiler. So you can either do it manually, or when you get up to higher speeds, it just lifts up, and there will be a cutaway at some point in this video for that. You do have the carbon fiber roof. We will talk about that more on the inside look of the Cayenne. So around the rear, kind of perfect because, sorry, let's go back to the lights for a sec. Similarly to the front, you have your 4 points there, and then your bar here. So I really love that the entire assembly, both on the trunk lid and the rear panel, light up, because to me visibility is key, especially when you're making lane changes and turns. Quad tailpipes looks really sharp, and you got a little more carbon fiber through the diffuser right back there, and that's part of a separate package. You do have a washer for your rear camera. Let's take a look in the trunk. I'll put your cargo figures up. So yes, the seats go down, obviously, and you got a little underfloor storage as well. Not much because there's a spare tire there, but you can still put a little bit of stuff up on the right side. One touch button to close up the vehicle, and nice soft close. And again, it looks really, really sharp. A bit of an irk for me, there is no rear wiper. I would have thought there would have been one there that kind of just scoops out downwards as opposed to going that way. Would have liked to see that, but I think the angle's steep enough that the rain will just fall off. Let's take a look inside, starting with the rear seats. First thing you're gonna notice, I know the cup holder's on an angle. I'll get to that in a sec. It's a 2+2 setup. You can get the bench if you need that middle seat. I would spec it just the way it is with the 2+2. Rear seats do recline, so the one over there is all the way back. This is all the way forward. Because the cup holder armrest is dependent on where this is, because these two move down together, that's why it's so far down. However, I'm going to one-handedly push the seat all the way back, and now you can see the cup holder is level and the seat has been pushed back. Shout out to Porsche for going old school with his houndstooth. Shout out to Porsche for giving the rear passengers massive thigh bolsters and really good side support. So rear seat, very comfortable place to be. That's my normal seating position, so you have tons of space. Optional heated rear seats in 3 stages are also something you can look into, and the middle part, because if you choose the 2+2, is storage. These seats, top 5 for me ever, because the thigh support is just massive. The side support is just it's so well bolstered and it keeps you in place. And just to give you an idea of how much space there is, my fingertips are now at the end of the side bolster, and I can barely get my thumb around that, and very few cars have such strong side support. If you'd like to spend a little bit of money for a lot of class, you can get the embossed Porsche logo at the top of your sport seat. I believe these are the 18-way power sport seats. Very cool, and they're heated. Very nice touch there, Porsche. Let's take a look inside. This initially was an irk for me. An Alcantara wheel. Yeah, it's heated, but it just felt weird when I first drove home with it. But the benefit is it doesn't get hot in the summer, it doesn't get cold in the winter. So I'm presuming it doesn't get cold in the winter. It's the middle of August in the morning, and you can see it's already 28 degrees outside, so pretty hot. Aside from that, standard Porsche stuff, got some controls. Your cruise control stock is just off to the left, and your drive modes, Sport Plus, Individual and Sport, and Normal are just to the bottom right. So let's get this started up. I'm going to close the door. No surprise here. And let's take a look at the 5 dials. Hello, Jay. Nice to meet you. Yeah, you can make a driver profile for yourself and have your name there so a car greets you. Typical Porsche style, if you roll around with this, your N2 turn into 1, which is your map. So if you don't want that, or for whatever reason, you can just scroll away and get to something else. Cool things here, you got your G-force, sport kernel, so you can lap it, and there is so much power on the car. Again, we'll get to that in the driving portion. You do have ambient light choices. The most pronounced area of that is here. I believe there's 6 different choices. You can't really see it now. Let's put the lights on. No, yeah, it's too bright to see it now. Anyways, I'm going to show you the HVAC because I am really hot because it is really hot outside. There we go. Hopefully that doesn't come through too loudly, and I'm going to go to the other side as well. Get that in focus there. So that's a little too loud. Hopefully that doesn't muck up the sound for you lovely, loyal viewers. 12.3-inch screen, very easy to use. Now one of my new favorites in the industry. For example, you just kind of move your hand and all these different options show. But you do get a fair amount of customizability. That's not a word, I don't think. Customizability? Anyways, if you want to correct me on that, feel free. But everything is so easy to use. You can adjust the spoiler to be manual or automatic, and this does have the air suspension. We'll go through that just after this clip is done before we get to the driving clip. But overall, 12.3-inch screen, very, very easy to use, and lots of options. I like that it's not quite hard touch buttons, but you can see there's a source and car, media, climate, home. So let's just press home, and wherever you are, it lights up in red. Just makes it a little easier. That's kind of your scroll wheel. So let's go to the media section again, and I'll just turn that. Oops, let's go back to the media section again. And as you turn it, it gets to all these different controls at the bottom. I don't mind the scroll wheel for the volume because there's nothing here, but if you really don't like it, just use the steering wheel controls. I like the shifter. I like that it's not the new one, like that little Bic shaver, or not Bic, whatever, Remington shaver. I like that it's actually, substantial, and you push in for park here, and then you kind of cycle. Your trigger button is there. Let's take it through your other gears, and yes, there's manual mode. A little more HVAC stuff here. A little more on the suspension side, so 1 and 2. You can see it says Sport Plus at Sport, and then Sport Plus at the bottom, and the suspension is moving right now. So I'm going to knock everything off and go through that later on. I like this area. I like there's not a ton of buttons like there used to be with some of, not the older, but this previous years of Porsches. And I like that it's a glass outlay as opposed to like actual hard touch buttons. You do get some grab bars here and here to keep you and your passengers in place. Little more of the carbon fiber there and there. So all Cayennes come with a massive fixed panoramic roof. This does have the lightweight package, which turns it into a carbon fiber roof and some other black trims. Sorry, this is the lightweight black package. So that's why there's a lot of trim on in black around the rest of the vehicle. I don't like it. it feels closed in for me because it's a darker color. The seats are dark. Pretty much it's all dark colors throughout. So I'm just giving you a good overall panoramic look. I don't like it. Just too closed in for me, and it just feels like I'm in a tunnel. I would much rather have a fixed panel roof to let all the light in. Let's do the drive. 2020 Porsche Cayenne Coupe. Sorry if it's a little dark because we have the carbon fiber roof. As part of the lightweight package, we don't get the sunroof, and without the sunroof, you don't get a lot of light. And if you don't like the way I look, this is probably the video for you to be watching. You can see my shirt. I wore a white shirt to try and stand out a little bit more than I usually do. So now that that's out of the way, under the hood is a 2.9 liter V6 bi-turbo, and that whips out 434 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque through Porsche's 8-speed automatic transmission. And I gotta say, road manners and driving feel and dynamics, for Porsche's biggest offering, this drives incredibly well. I've always felt planted, and it's very precise and it's very brisk. And you can't go fast in a straight line all the time, especially not in Canada's 6th biggest city. So I'm surprised that Porsche has found a way to balance a larger frame and not sacrifice any of the driving dynamics that come along with the Cayenne Coupe, or the Cayenne for that matter. Let's quickly jump into fuel economy and then jump back to the drive. So it's a 75 liter gas tank, and you got to use the good stuff, and it's 13.1 in the city and 10.5 on the highway. Blended total 11.9, and being Canadian, it is liters per 100 kilometers. I'm at an even 10, and again, I usually don't like saying what I've done with the vehicle because everyone's driving habits and style and what they put in the car is different. So it's listed on the spec sheet at $17,500, but it saves a substantial amount of weight. I believe it's a little over 20 kilograms. And again, for a vehicle of this size, that is a substantial amount of savings for weight. And the way Porsche Canada spec this is really for the driving enthusiast to balance fun and function, right? So it's faster than it would be without having the lightweight package there. So you get that much more excitement behind the wheel, but you can still take your guitar and amp to practice and take your kids to whatever activities they have or they do, or friends, or I'm saying that it's still very, very functional. Seats make a huge difference because they are just so good and they hold you in place so well. Again, I love the retro look of it with the leather inserts, so it's a blend of old school and new school. But regardless of what the seats look like, for me, it's comfort. And the Cayenne Coupe seats are just so good. The infotainment system is easy to use as a driver. A couple of irks for me, one of them being to deactivate the auto start stop. You gotta touch twice and then it goes off. I wouldn't have minded something in this little center part where the gear shift is, just to do a one touch, or something maybe to the left of the steering wheel, but it's a personal thing for me. Surround view camera is a paid option, and it's something that I think I would get. Just again, being Porsche's largest offering, I'd like to not dent it, not ding it, and have the added safety of knowing what's around me at all times. And the resolution on the camera is very, very high. Alcantara steering wheel is a little difficult to get used to. I imagine the majority of us do the one-handed turns, or hook our hand underneath and swing it, or do the palmy thing, which is weird for me, but whatever. But because it's Alcantara and it's a little grippy, you can't really do that, all right? Like, as your hands just stick to it. It's not plastic, it's not leather, so you can't really get that full swipe around. That's gonna wrap up the review on the 2020 Porsche Cayenne Coupe S. I feel like I've said that a lot. I just want to remind you that that's what I'm driving. If you've got any questions on the vehicle, please let me know. I'll do my best to get you answers as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Be safe, be wealthy. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm gonna say be safe, be healthy, be well, but be safe, be wealthy, be healthy, be well. Be whatever you want. I'll be back sooner than later with my next review.